February 7th, big point of interest. What the hell happened? What's going down? And later in this video, we're going to figure out how do we go from here. For y'all who have not kept up, Kanye has made some outlandish tweets. First off, Kanye and his wife Bianca end up going to the Grammys, right? They were uninvited. It was unannounced. And they were uninvited, they were unannounced, and his wife was unclothed. Now, with this, a rise in Kanye and Bianca on the internet, trending everywhere, blew the fuck up. Now, what do you do in this situation, you may ask? You may brand your clothing better. You may drop an album. Or you may say you love the Mustache Man. That's right, you heard me correct. For y'all who haven't seen, Kanye went out on a crazy rant on Twitter. Now, this happened on February 7th of 2025. An infamous day where Kanye once again has decided to mess up his career. I don't know how much more he made graduation Kanye fans have in him, because it's hard to defend the man. I don't think Kanye fans can anymore. Me personally, I like Kanye's music. And, he's said some statements I agree with. The Mustache Man statements and the anti-Semitic stuff, I don't. A lot of the shit I find crazy. Don't get me wrong. But some of the tweets he made, I did find a little funny. So, first off, Ye starts tweeting some anti-Semitic stuff. For y'all who don't know what anti-Semitic means, it basically is just hate against Jewish people. And loving the Mustache Man. And yes, I mean the Mustache Man. He tweeted that, hail the Mustache Man. He said he loved the Mustache Man. And it started off simple, where he was just saying on how Jewish lawyers have screwed him over and all this, and he's talking about Jewish lawyers. And then we step it up. We're not just talking about Jews now. We're talking about fat people. And during this, I can't lie, I got a couple little chuckles out of it. It was a little funny. Some of the stuff he was saying was a little funny. Right? It kind of made me chuckle a little bit. And then he started moving to, cussing out Travis Scott, who unfollowed him on Instagram. Fair enough. He starts cussing out all these other people, who are, and he doesn't really mention a lot by name, but he does mention Travis. He does mention a couple other people, right? So this is where, it starts to get crazy. He's tweeting basically for 3 days straight. He starts going on a crazy rant. Yada, 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 right? Then, after all these tweets, everybody's thinking, Kanye's lost his mind again. This is another manic episode from Kanye. This is another Kanye off the chains, right? Like, somebody get him off the nitrous oxide. Like, oh boy, here we go, Kanye crashing out again. Like, it's one of those Kanye moments again, You got the Kanye mindset. But no. Apparently it wasn't. He tweeted that it was all a social experiment, it was all a social experiment to see how much he could get away with free speech. And honestly, if he would have left it at that, shit, you would have had me. Because honestly, he's got all the money in the world, he's got $7 billion, allegedly, he has that money. So money ain't gonna make you happy at that point. Free speech, saying whatever you want, and you getting away with it, you can say whatever's on your mind. You're probably one of the only people in the world who can say whatever's on your mind. And I think that's what he was trying to do at first, And then in the video after, or in the tweet after, he starts going off on stuff again, He starts going off on all this and all that and yada, yada, yada. And it's fucking crazy. It's crazy. And at the end of all these tweets, right around this time, there's a video that came out of Kodak Black, who was just basically tweaking on the street. He was eating chicken wings or something. And finally, the first video we see from Ye out of these 3 days where he's just basically geeking out, came out on his Twitter. And it was basically him saying, I saw Kodak, I want to make sure he's okay. I want to fly down there. I know everybody thinks I'm manic and I'm crazy, but I'm not. I'm not crazy. And then he talks about how he loves everybody, but yet he's making comments on, fuck you, you're broke, and kind of all that stuff. and like literally not listening to what anybody says. And eventually he ends up going off on Aiden Ross for calling him sir too much, which honestly doesn't really even evolve to the plot of how fucking crazy these tweets from Kanye have been. That's just the tip of the iceberg. But yeah, he just ends up saying some, insane shit. And after all this, which I find is even more crazy, there was a Super Bowl commercial this guy released on his iPhone again. Also, I found really funny because he basically copied what he did last year and did it again this year. It was good. I can't lie. It was good. Other things he talked about during these tweets is he put free Puff, free Diddy. He was talking about how Diddy ain't doing nothing wrong. I don't know about all that. I don't know. I think the diddler may have done it, He made Sean Combs merch for some reason and put it on Yeezy.com. And then the icing on the cake, the cherry on the sundae. He wanted to release a swastika shirt. He wanted to drop that, and then he also wanted to drop merch of the girl that Diddy beat. She was wearing a sweater in the alleged video where Diddy beat her, and he wanted to drop that sweater. I don't know what was going through his head. All I could tell you was, what the fuck? That's all I can say. Now, where does Kanye really go from here? We've seen this in the past, he started all the way at, graduation, late registration, all his albums, I try and put this in eras, of Kanye crash outs, we see a little tiny crash out in St. Pablo. Then we see his big, his bipolarness, in Ye, and he talks about that on the album. And I think that's a great album of Kanye's. I genuinely do, because he talks about it. But this is where you kind of notice more of the crash out is after this, because he's starting to talk about another album that's coming out. He's talking about slavery was a choice, all this crazy shit. And then eventually he drops Jesus is King. And Jesus is King, kind of his comeback a little bit, he's a religious fella now. He's a religious man. He's doing a Sunday service. He's doing all these kind of good things. And then we come to Donda. Now, Donda is an interesting one. Donda, you can tell Kanye is starting to derail. He divorces with Kim K. He's going into the deep end. And then, we just even more down, he goes on an Alex Jones podcast and talks about how he loves the mustache man. And yeah, that was probably about 1.5 years of cancellation. So yeah, he was basically in the gutter for about a year. And then out of nowhere, him and Ty Dolla $ign, these two, decide to make a collab album, Vultures. Now, we thought this was going to be a 1-project thing. It was a 3-project thing. Supposed to be a 3-project thing. 2 have only released. The 3rd one, probably not coming out anymore. We will get to that. 1 and 2. Kanye has now come back from his cancellation. Because these songs, mid, but there were some bangers. I can't lie. We got Carnival. We got I'd say Vultures 2's better. We got 530. There's some good songs there, but you could definitely tell that even though that Kanye's coming back up, he's doing something different. He's using AI. He's doing some weird shit, and it's kind of unsettling. And even this kind of whole Vultures feel, he's coming back, but it's unsettling and it doesn't really feel like Kanye. And then boom, Kanye announces that a new album's coming out, and all of a sudden, we are back, baby. We're so back. Ye's back. He moved to Japan. We got little snippets of his new album, Bully, and he just sounds like Kanye again. But then he pulls out this shit. He pulls out this shit. And, right before the Grammys, Kai Cenat talks about he's supposed to have a stream with him. That would have blown up. We could have had Bully. he talks about in a documentary that came out, or not a documentary, but like a little podcast he was doing with somebody that Bully was coming out sometime in June, and he also brings up on how he doesn't have bipolar. He has something closer to autism now. Don't know why I brought that up. Just, it's not really even important, but throwing back to that Yay album era, right? But yeah, now who knows if we're gonna get Vultures 3 or Bully at this point. Now, where do I think it's gonna go from here? Honestly, I don't know. See, Kanye came out of a hole before when he said he loves the Mustache Man on a conservative podcast, right? But can he come back from this? Because this was constant tweets, him firing shots at people. The people he works with, I mean, are you still working for this guy? You know, at the same time, what happens if Kanye gets canceled? And realistically, the only thing that happens is we don't hear from him on the internet. If Kanye has $2.7 billion like he says he does, he ain't gonna give a shit. He's still gonna say and think what he wants to do, but he just isn't gonna do it on the internet no more. So if he's canceled, I don't really know. It just, the information of, I guess, Kanye doesn't really get out, and we don't get music from him, and we don't really hear from him, and he kind of falls off the face of the earth. Kind of becomes like a rice gum, or like an iDubbbz or something, you know, just kind of disappeared. Sorry, didn't mean to throw shots, but it's true. But yeah, who knows what's gonna happen? And I think Ye said it best when he said, "I am a god," and I think only one man knows, and it's God, and apparently God is Kanye according to him. So the only person who will know what will happen in the future with Ye is Ye. Anyways, what do y'all think is going to happen in the future of Kanye? Kanye fans, I'm sorry. I know you don't have any more. He made Graduation left in you. He made Late Registration. He made Life of Pablo. He made Dark Twisted Fantasies. I know you got no more in that. I know you got no more in you, you know? I know you got no more. So what do you think is going to happen to him? Do you think he's gonna finish a Vultures 3 with Ty Dolla $ign? Do you think he's gonna make Bully? You know, do you think that's still gonna happen? Do you think Yeezy, his clothing brand, is gonna skyrocket in sales? Do you think it's gonna do worse? Do you think Kanye's gonna be canceled forever and never come back? Highly doubt it. But what do you think? Let me know in the comments down below. I'm curious to see what your guys' opinion on it. That's kind of my opinion. So I hope y'all enjoyed watching and sticking all the way through the end of the video, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace.